What is up? What is up? Happy Treat Yourself Thursday. All right, gang. Coach Darius here, and I want to welcome you to the Just Can't Fail stream, where we turn failures into lessons and lessons into your success. And I'm your host, Coach Darius Wilson. So I want to welcome you all. Super excited to have you all here. And so, gang, make sure you head over to StreamYard.com/Facebook. And please, please, please just click that blue button there. So that way, when you engage with us, you come up as yourself and not just a Facebook user. Okay, so again, StreamYard.com. Also, let us know where you're tuning in from. That way we can give shout out to your city, your town, your hood, and shout you all out with when you are tuning into the show here. Okay. And please do let us know if you are commenting, watching this live, or if this is a replay. And also, I have a big ask, okay? I have a really big ask, all right? And so my ask is this. So if you enjoy this, please share this. Just click a button. It's only going to cost you like 2 seconds of your time. Just click the button, share it, tag 2 or 3 people that wants to hear this, that have maybe been struggling with weight loss, that may have just kind of feeling stuck, don't know what to do, all of those good things. All right. So we want to elevate those around you so that way you can elevate as well. All right. So let's make sure we share and tag someone. That's a huge ask. And so I want to get started once we have about like 10 eyeballs on this. Okay. So super excited to have you guys. And so let's make sure we head over to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Okay. And so what I want to do, I want to share a little bit. This past fall, we had launched our new app, and I reached out to classmates and I from in a Facebook group. And I reached out to the guys. I graduated from an all boys Catholic high school down in Metairie, which is right outside of New Orleans. And so it's all boys Catholic school. And so I posted that, most of the people that I have worked with have been mostly women. We do have a good amount of guys, but mostly women. And so I wanted to be able to launch this program, get some really great before afters and all of that. So, and we launched a 28-day program. We had like 9 to 10 guys that did the program, got phenomenal results. And I had the privilege and honor to continue to, to connect with my classmates, help them have some breakthroughs, which was fantastic. And had the ability to continue to work with my guest that I'm going to have on the show tonight. And so really excited. It's been great having Andre, working with Andre, who has almost lost 20 pounds since being with us over the last couple of months, a few months, I'm sorry. And so really excited to bring on to the show, Andres Moorman. Okay, gang. So let's welcome Andre to the show. So Sergeant First Class, Andres Moorman. How you doing, my man?
Is my mic on?
Yes, I can hear you.
There
now.
we go. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited to have you share your story, and as we, you sent a really great message this morning about your evaluation coming up. I think it's a height weight evaluation. And, you shared, your gratitude for not even having to worry about that and getting that and getting those same sentiments from your higher up. So that's really great. And so, as I said in that message, man, I'm excited and I'm honored to be a part of this journey with you, man. So you've been doing a really awesome job. So keep it up.
I appreciate it. The honor's all mine. It's been an amazing journey, like downright life-changing.
Oh, thank you, man. I totally received that. Thank you. You've done a great job just being so coachable, man, and just following the program. So kudos to you for that. The best is yet to come.
Oh,
you ready to dive in?
Yes, best is yet to come. Let's go.
Also,
Let's
Andre,
go.
Man, talk to me, like, what are you most excited about in 2021?
Honestly, I'm most excited to see what type of a change a year is going to make, and that's kind of been my mantra since starting the program. So at first, when I started working with you, when you did offer us that opportunity, and again,
Yeah,
thank you so much. It hit at exactly the right time when I was ready to make that change. Um, I wanted to see what could happen in 30 days.
yeah,
What could happen in 30 days. And 30 days later, I looked at the results and my mindset kind of changed to how far can I take this? It's
yeah.
no longer what can happen in 30 days, but how far can I take this? How much more can I work and give to this new way that I live, to this new feeling that I'm getting, the energy, the vibes. Like it's been great. And so as I go through, like I want to see how much stronger I can become in 2021. And so that's usually when I post up now, it's stronger in 2021.
Awesome, awesome. So, what do you do?
I am in the military, United States Army, 16 years as of this past February. I am a nursing instructor down in Fort Sam, Houston. I teach LPNs for the Army in a 44-week program. They spend a year with us where we teach them nursing, the pathophysiology of disease processes, nursing skills, and then we take them into the hospitals and we give them the hands-on skills before they take their NCLEX, which is the testing to get your nursing license.
Awesome, awesome, man. Talk to me. So, why is health and fitness important to you?
Well, I mean, as a member of the military, it is one of the most paramount things. We have to be fit. We have to be ready to get into the fight.
Yeah,
And that means that fitness is a big part of that. And most of the times, you wake up at 05 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and you're already starting your day with fitness.
yeah,
With the COVID environment, of course, there's been a little bit of allowances, but that requirement doesn't stop. So fitness is a huge part of what we are, who we, and what we do, and it's ingrained in us from the first step when we go to basic training all throughout our military careers.
got it. Awesome. And has fitness, a sport, been always been a part of your life, or this is something that transpired getting into the army?
No. So sports and fitness have kind of always been a part of my life.
Yeah,
Growing up, I played baseball, little league, and all that. I played, I always ran track. In high school, when we were in high school together, I was doing track and cross country, and that became a very defining part of my life. And college, I kind of tried to focus on studies, and then life takes twists and turns. I met my wife while I was in college, and life took a sharp right turn where that became my focus. So
yep, yep.
that's when I decided to join the military, which is when, I already had a good fitness base that was reinforced by my time in the military. But, like anything else, like any knife in your drawer or anything like that, if you don't use it, your skills become dull. And even though fitness is a part of our lives, and a part of our daily being, sometimes we still fall off.
Yeah,
Life comes at us, family family obligations, work obligations, and it becomes really easy to just kind of push stuff off to the side.
yeah.
So like it was what was a huge part of my life for the longest time, suddenly became something that I had to work at. I woke up one day and realized I didn't have that. I had the strong base, the knowledge, but I wasn't applying it.
Got it. Awesome. And so, was nutrition or exercise like an emphasis for you, like growing up with your family, or what was it kind
Mhm.
of sport that kind of led you down that road?
Sports kind of led me down that road.
Yeah.
Nutrition was pretty much for me, whatever you ate, whatever was put out for dinner, that's what you were going to eat. So, and of course, growing up in my household, we had a lot of beans and rice, tamales, and stuff like that. A lot of really, really good foods that is real easy to lose yourself in. So
Exactly.
I'm very thankful that I that I had that good fitness base to start off with,
Right, right.
you know.
Got it. And so, what was the challenge that you had? You know, having a good base, and kind of losing your way when it comes to like your fitness. Like, what was the challenge? What was the culprit of that?
Um, Honestly, the culprit of where I lost my way, I would say the culprit has to be, me, and that
Mm,
was something that I had to learn, that huge accountability piece, where I had the knowledge, I had the base, I had the drive, I had, you know, regulations backing me
yeah,
saying I had to be a certain way,
yeah,
but if it's not enforced, if you're not held accountable, then, and whether it's to yourself or to someone else, if you're not being held accountable, it's easy to just kind of push it off to the side, to make that excuse,
yeah.
to say no, I have other things that are more important. And that was my biggest thing, was not making it a priority because I wasn't holding myself accountable for my own actions.
Mm. And so, accountability. So, what do you feel was the what do you feel allowed you to, kind of get back on track and to make this like this, this way of life for you again? Like, what was that? What was that? Was that turning point for you when you mentioned, it came. My post in the Facebook group came at the right time. Like,
Mhm.
where were you at that moment? Um, and what was it that kind of like the tipping point to be like, you know what, I need to do this now.
Right. So
Yeah.
the again, it was one of those times where I kind of, again, I woke up, I took a look at how I was feeling, about myself, about how I was feeling about where I was. And, I wasn't happy with my level of fitness at the time, with the way that I had kind of kept myself. Um, with the COVID environment and everything in my office at work, we were kind of coming up with some creative ways to kind of keep everybody motivated. And one of the big things that we came up with was a fitness challenge, which, we all kind of bought in. We went and got some scans with some equipment, and, to learn what everybody's, body fat percentage was, or muscle mass was, in case they were already in a fit state and were going to gain that muscle mass, to see who could make the biggest change, not necessarily biggest loser, but like the biggest change. And so I entered into that, and I've done one of those before with some friends in Hawaii, and it's good for, losing about like 10 pounds. But again, that accountability piece, that if nobody's holding you accountable, if it's just a fun little fitness challenge, amongst friends, it was easy to just kind of, to kind of push some stuff aside. Now, what really helped me out with that accountability piece was honestly the post that you put out there. If it's one thing that I'd say that I'm good at, it's offering a helping hand. And
Yeah.
you were asking for some subjects, so you could help get some data. And
Yeah.
so, that kind of military mentality that was ingrained kind of clicked for me. And it was one of those things where I was like, this is my mission.
Yeah.
This is my mission right here. My mission is to do the absolute best I can, to give unadulterated 100% data for you to be able to collect. And just having that mindset of I can't fail him,
Yeah.
changed eventually to I can't fail myself. Now that,
Yeah.
I started noticing some of the changes, my coworkers started noticing some of the changes. And, I'd say the biggest shock was like 2 weeks in. I want to say
Yeah.
it was 2 weeks into the challenge and to the program. I had been in the hospital working a lot, had stayed away from some of the office work. As soon as I got back into the office, a couple of coworkers, I walk in, to ask a question, and they're like, "Whoa, what happened to you?" And that's about the point when it changed to I can't fail you to I can't fail myself, because I'm like, "Oh, there is a change. I didn't see it, but now I see it. I see the results." And,
Yeah.
you know now it's like, this isn't just about, helping out a friend. This is also about finally making that change for my way of life. And now I can't fail myself, that I've come this far, I'm now ready to hold myself accountable to keep going as far as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And something I want to touch on, you mentioned kind of how it transitioned from like, I have to do this for, I'm doing this. I don't want to let Coach Darius down to like, oh no, like it shifted to like, no, I'm doing this for me and I don't want to let myself down. And for anyone that's tuning in, I think that is a very important, significant switch. And it's great to get started. The extrinsic motivation will get you fired up and get you going. It would not allow you to keep that fire going. It has to shift from an extrinsic motivation to an intrinsic motivation for you to not go back to where you started. All right. So anyone that's watching, like that is a great significant shift. And it's something that as a coach, and I think many coaches can vouch for that, is that that's the biggest shift that we want to be able to have when we're working with any members. And so with that being said, you mentioned mentality and, you mentioned like the army mentality. How can someone, a civilian, am I using the correct
Yep,
language? how
that's the,
can
that's the correct language.
how can a civilian tap into like that mental army, military sort of mentality to help them in their own journey, whether it's goals in their life, outside of health and fitness, whether it's weight loss, whether it's wellness? How can someone tap into that military mindset?
Well, for us, it was kind of easy when it's ingrained into you, in basic, because you got somebody with that drill sergeant hat, the brown round, just yelling at you constantly, do this right, so that kind of helps. And so, um, how can a civilian get that mentality? I would say, number one is again just holding yourself accountable,
Yeah,
making sure to understand, what your mission is, and just understanding that is not going to fail, and just setting that mindset that this is what you're going to do, and just never giving up, because it's about, you know trying to enforce that discipline,
yeah.
however that might be for you, for so I was a notorious snacker.
Mm,
Chocolate everywhere, chips. And so it took a lot of discipline, for me to just kind of slowly weed that out, and then to be able to pass that up, and to not crave that anymore. And it takes training. It takes
yeah,
training. It takes a force of will to actively work against it, to actively train yourself, and actively, motivate yourself to be, this is to enforce that will upon yourself. um and you can start small. You don't have to start big. You have to set small achievable goals, maybe, like, you know eh, you know um so for instance, going to the gym, um 3 days a week, setting that as a goal, right?
yeah,
One of the most important things that can help you out with that type of discipline is, instead of going to work, coming home, and then dressed in, some comfortable clothes, or laying down, or sitting on the sofa in front of the TV, you know get dressed in those clothes that you would normally go to the gym, and you're already halfway there.
right,
And just set yourself with that discipline, that as soon as you get home, the first thing you do, I'm changing into workout clothes. And
yeah,
that's half the battle, because now you're already dressed and ready to go. I might
yeah,
as well take myself out to do the rest.
right,
Meal prepping. It took a lot of discipline, to do that. And, even with a military mindset, it was kind of hard. I had to actually set myself, to force myself, okay, this day I'm going to schedule this day to do my cooking, my prepping, to set it, to plan the meals, and it took an actual active force of will, and active participation on my part, to make sure that every day I I did that every Sunday rather, which is my meal prep day. I did those things that I cooked, whatever meals I was going to have for the day, that I made sure I planned my meals out, accordingly. So actually, I guess to kind of sum it all up, what is the best way that a civilian can get into that military mindset? Set your goals and be an active participant in those goals.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Um, Andre, what was your thought process? Was this your first time that you've ever done a remote program? Because you're down in Texas.
Mhm.
Um, was this the first time when I posted that inside of the Facebook group? Have you had work in a remote setting before?
I don't know.
Okay.
don't recall ever having worked in another remote setting. I had considered working remote settings before,
Okay.
um, but I hadn't really done anything like this. This was my first time
Okay.
working with a true, fitness program, remote app, where it was, coaching from a distance.
Yeah.
Growing up, we had the same coaches who were for track and everything, telling us, hey, this is what you're going to do, this is the
Right.
plan.
Yeah.
And so, but they were always there, physically there,
Yeah.
as that presence. Yeah, this was the first time I've ever had a remote presence and used a remote app to do everything.
Awesome. And was there any, I guess, was there any hesitations, working from having the blueprint, even though the blueprint is laid out for you and you just have to follow it, was there
Mhm.
any hesitations that you had around, having a remote coach, having a remote program and workouts and exercises to follow?
Yeah.
Was there any sort of hesitations that you had around that, like how effective it could be?
There was,
Yeah.
and it wasn't so much as how effective it would be, from your standpoint and your effort, but more, how effective it would be from my effort. I
Yeah.
had a lot of self-doubt when I first got into the program about how committed I was going to be, how I was going to, whether or not I was going to brush the workouts off or just push everything to the side like I had always kind of done, whether or not I was going to make the excuses. And I remember the messages that I sent you when you asked for volunteers. I said, hey, I'm extremely interested in this,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to be consistent enough,
Yeah.
in order to achieve those goals and help you achieve your goals. And so I even asked you, hey, if you still need people, I'm willing to be a participant, but you might want to consider me an alternate because I'm not really sure I can be consistent enough for you. And then the more I thought about it, that same day that I sent that message, the more I thought, you know what, this is exactly what I want to do. This is exactly the catalyst I need to make that change. I'm helping a friend out, and at the same time I'm going to be helping myself, but more importantly, I can do this. I can make that change to help my friend out. And that's
Yeah.
exactly, when I sent you the follow-up message where I'm like, you know what? No, count me in. I'm
Right.
in 100%.
Yeah, I do recall that, and I wanted to touch on that. Like, what was the switch that went off? That went from I think I want to do it, and then it was like very like moments after it was just like nah, I'm in. Like, what was the shift there?
Well, I read the message, and then I after I'd sent it to you, I read the message, and I kind of ruminated on it a little bit. I can't remember exactly what I was doing at the time. It was around the Halloween times, I remember.
Yep.
And just the more I thought about it, the more I hated the way it sounded. I hated the way that first message sounded. Like, what do I mean I can't do this? What do I
Yeah.
mean I can't commit to this? Why can't I commit to this? Why can't I commit to 30 days of changing my life and helping a friend out? There's no reason I can't do this. I'm
Yeah.
in a good position to do this. And that's what kind of flicked the switch for me, was just reading it and realized how much of a kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? How much of a kind of cop out answer I
Yeah.
gave was, where it was like, well, I guess I'm your guy, and no, I am your guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've been super consistent. And so it's so interesting to go from like I'm not sure how consistent I can be to like being super consistent, right? And so I want to I want to unpack that a little bit more, and I want to understand where did that come from, where you were concerned with being consistent. Was that kind of your practice with your exercise and nutrition
Mhm.
before, before joining the program?
Oh yeah, no, that was 100% my practice. Like I said, in basic training and everything, it's real easy. Everything is laid out for you.
Yeah,
You will do this every single day. um but certain environments, especially, those of us who work in hospitals, we work shift work, and so
yeah,
it really has to kind of come from within a lot of times
yeah.
to do your own workouts, to keep your own nutrition. And you can ask any nurse, whether they're military, civilian, whatever. You can ask any nurse. Nutrition is the last thing on our mind. It's, what does our patient need? Hey, I've got 15 minutes to shove something in my mouth. There's a Burger King, let me grab something.
Mm,
Oh wait, what's that? I don't have time to eat. It's okay, I don't need that meal anyway. I've got this to do for my patient. I've got that. Nurses are great at taking care of others, but we're horrible at taking care of ourselves. So that's part of where it came, is because I got used to, I've been used to making excuses, and that was kind of some of that hesitation. And I realized that about myself, where, I realized that every so often throughout this year, I had this cycle where, I would get really ramped up about fitness sometime after the new year, along with the new year, new me. And
yeah.
then, I'd get to around the summer, some pounds would kind of shed off, and I was feeling good. And then it gets to like the colder months, and I would make as many excuses as I could, just
Mm,
not to be outside in the colder months,
yeah,
whatever the case may be. So I realized I did kind of have that. And on top of that, I would make excuses because I did already have that base. I mean, for what it's worth, I could have been in like collegiate sports when I first went into college before the military. And that strong base that I had, I carried that with me, and I kind of carried a chip on my shoulder because of it. I was riding the coattails of something that I had worked hard for years, but that I had been disciplined, to be, that person at the time. And then I let that discipline go away because I got cocky. I got really wrapped up in what I used to be and what I could do, and the abilities that I had, that one day again I woke up one day and all of that was gone.
yeah,
It was gone. Here I am. I was no longer to run as fast as I could. I was no longer to run as far as I could, that was a distressing moment. And
yeah,
it was when I came to that realization that I really kind of was like, okay, I need to make a change. But I still had those mentalities ingrained in me where it's like, I need to make this change, but I have this work to take care of now. I need to make this change, but I need to do this around the house. I need to make this change. I need to meal prep, but it's hard to meal prep for myself. I can't make two meals for myself and then more meals for the family. I mean, that's just a lot of cooking. It's too much work. Meal prepping is work, and I would make the excuses, and I realized
yeah,
that.
yeah. And so, what was your biggest struggle before joining our remote program?
Biggest struggle, again, those excuses.
Mm,
Making those excuses and putting, what I thought was putting everything before myself.
mm.
It really was just pushing aside what I needed to do.
Got you. Just kind of filling that space with more sort of clutter, so to speak.
That's exactly it.
Got
They kind of like that whole, that analogy with the rocks in the jar and the sand that goes in it and
you.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I filled it with a lot of sand, a lot of little things that could just, fill in the cracks.
Awesome. And what has been your biggest success so far with being part of the remote program?
Um, Good question. The biggest success, I mean, since I started the program in November 2nd, as of this morning, I'm officially a full 20 pounds down. So in
Awesome,
that in
man.
that short time frame. Um,
Awesome.
so
Awesome.
that was a huge success for me.
Okay.
because and looking back at the progress photos that we have planned in the app and
Yeah,
everything, that was an amazing change.
yeah,
It really was seeing myself where I was, and even just 3 months later, the progress that made was enormous. And you know that I count as a huge success. I put on a pair of jeans that I haven't worn in like 5 years because they were just so uncomfortable at my weight, and they're an
awesome,
inch
man.
too big for me now, and
Yeah,
it's a great feeling. Like I there's so many successes that that it's really hard to count them all.
absolutely.
Nutrition wise, I
Yeah,
have a huge success nutrition wise where one day I was seeking out, those quick, easy meals, that fast food a lot. Now I don't crave it. I don't want it. It's easy to refuse. And that is a huge success.
awesome, awesome. I know you've shared that quite a bit with the office sort of treats.
Yeah.
Going, spending. I know because you and your family may travel a little bit, like in within Texas,
Yeah. Yeah.
to different friends and things like that. And so being able to continue to I don't refuse has been like that's a I know you shared how excited you have been about that.
Yep.
And so I want to touch on that because I know for many people that may watch this, that may struggle or have difficulties in social sort of settings.
Hmm.
Um, how are you able to make the shift from, oh man, I'm going to be missing out on this, to making the shift to where if I want to achieve A, B, or C, then this is sort of the lifestyle that I have to
Hmm.
take on. So some people have like FOMO, and then I think you have done a great job of embracing. So what has been the change from potentially having a FOMO to embracing this new way of sort of consuming food and nutrition?
Um, well, the one of the big things that kind of helps is, a lot of your teaching, it's not about completely cutting certain things away. I mean, there are obviously certain things you want to, stay away from,
Mhm.
but but as opposed to a lot of, dieting and nutrition, you know, fad diets, let's just say, where they want you to completely cut out carbs or completely cut out all the fat, and or only eat plant-based this. And it's, that this isn't that as strict.
Yeah,
Let's just say it was less about removing certain things, except for the obvious, which was the fast food and everything. And it was more about just changing the way that you think about food.
yeah,
And so with that, like it's real easy for me now to kind of travel now that I think about the way I eat, differently. It's easy for me when we do travel and we do go see friends that, when the family goes and we have to grab something on the road, I don't search for the quick easy meal, as much as I search for, okay, this is what's within my limits. I'm going to work within my limits. I can still make this work, you know.
yeah,
Um and a lot of the fear, like especially when you do a lot of traveling and stuff like that, is, well, where am I going to get that from? You know, you can find it. You
yeah,
can find it. It's kind of like they say, if you look for the darkness, all you'll see is darkness. If you look for the light, you'll bathe in the light. This is kind of one of those moments where, if you search only for, the bad foods, or if you search and look, and all you find is just, the bad foods in your journey, your travels, wherever you're going, you can search and you can find, those good foods to go along with it, and you can find, stuff to kind of help, stuff to kind that you can have still,
yeah,
you know um as far as like having a phobia about giving something up, there's, I don't know, maybe for me there's really, not a fear there. I love to cook personally.
yeah,
I love to make food. I love to share food. I love to share in food.
yeah,
And so there whatever really was a huge fear for me about giving something up, because I was excited. I changed the mindset to being excited to try new things. I was excited when I got your recipe book, because it was challenging the way that I thought about food and the way that I prepared food, but
Mhm.
not the taste of the food. It wasn't taking away from the taste. And so I was excited to see, hey, I wonder what this is. Hey, I wonder what this is going to be like. Hey, I want to try this now. And then that changed my mindset to, well, I wonder how I can make it.
Yeah.
How can I make this better? How can I improve my cooking? And
Yeah.
so giving up the fast food. I'll be honest, after a while, if you're even thinking about giving it up, you know, try to make the switch, even just for a week. And you'll find, after eating this way and being this way for even just a week, it's amazing how much you don't crave it, and you don't crave, and you feel better,
Yeah.
just being cleaner. And that becomes a huge motivator, that feeling that you get from just living and eating better and being better. That becomes a huge motivator, that you don't want to put that back into your body, those fuels that you used to.
Awesome. Awesome. And so we've had November. How many months is that? Like 4+ months.
Mm.
Tremendous success. What do you struggle? What is your biggest challenge now?
My biggest challenge, some of the excuses that I still tend to make, unfortunately. But it's a different kind of excuse. Like, so now when I go to the gym, I'll see one or two of the items that I need to do my workout might be taken, or the gym might be a little crowded. And so that's one of those defining moments where it's like, okay, I either have to work through this, find a way around it, or okay, well, what am I going to do now? um the one thing that kind of helps me out is, and we kind of talked about this, was never throw up a zero. We never want to throw up a zero. You never want to just have a day where you don't work out,
Right.
because you see that your favorite weight bench is taken, or there's four people using, in line to use the battle ropes, which you need for
Yeah.
your metcon circuit or something like that. So you got to do something,
Yeah.
and it was a matter of overcoming that mental hurdle of, oh, it's too late in the afternoon, I'm not going to work out because
Yeah.
I don't want to get sweaty, I'm going to eat late and stuff like that. Or, hey, this equipment is taken, I don't want to, I'm going to do something completely different now than what's prescribed to me, because of the fact that, oh, my equipment's taken, I can't complete my workout. No,
Yeah.
there's a way. Where there is a will, there is a way. But most importantly, don't put up a zero.
Absolutely.
Something is better than nothing.
And so I want to touch on that for anyone that's listening. And so that's, sometimes we don't always have a perfect scenario to work out and exercise, right? The skies don't open up for us all the time. There's going to be some inconvenience. There's going to be some sacrifices. So the idea is that you may not have your full blown workout that you can do, right? You may not have that available, but it's more so about becoming someone that does not miss workouts than doing the perfect workout all the time. So if you don't have 45 minutes, an hour to do your workout the way it may be laid out for you all the time, right? Because this is only a matter of when, then like do it 10 minutes on a minute and get it going and get after it, right? Even if it's 10 minutes, 10 minutes is always going to be better than 0 minutes, right? So be someone and become someone that just do not miss their workouts and be consistent there. Okay. So don't put up a zero. All right, gang. What are you most proud of yourself? Like how has this, you have a family at home, and
Yeah.
I want you to speak on how has this impacted not just yourself, but has there been
Mhm.
impacts that impacted your family?
Oh, it's impacted my family hugely. So I have a wife, three kids, two boys, Aiden and Grayson, who are, 15 and 13, and then my daughter Isabella, who's 9. Um, and it's impacted a lot. Like, so, so for instance, for my wife, and seeing the change that I've made,
Yeah,
and seeing the progress that I've made has actually inspired her to start making progress on her own. And so she's working with her own app and her own, um, and her own methods, to start, getting on a better path to fitness. She's doing meal prepping with me now, and eating the
Nice.
meals that I'm preparing, and she's loving the meals that I'm preparing and everything. And we're both, kind of committed to kind of making that change.
Yeah.
For my boys, they're in high school, or my oldest is in high school, my younger son is in eighth grade. And my younger son, he's running track, cross country, he's doing weightlifting. And my oldest son is in JROTC, so he's got his own fitness evaluations with that. And seeing the change that I've made, they've come to me a couple of times, and they're like, hey dad, hey, let's lift, hey, let's
Yeah.
go, let's do this, let's get some, train me a little bit. And I try to train them, so in some of the similar ways, to
Yes.
kind of get that. And so that's kind of changed their mindset as well. um my daughter's the funniest, 9 years old, and she's obsessed with being the strongest in her class. She's trying to do her
love
own lifting to
it. Love it. Love
to
it.
to
Love
build
it.
herself up. And and she loves it. And she loves, when I come home, and how strong I am, and we flex, and she runs and jumps into my arms and like hangs on me and everything, and she loves that.
Awesome.
Now, nutrition wise, the family, like, and this is one of those fears that some of you, some of the viewers may be having too, is, okay, well, how am I going to cook just for myself? And honestly, my family kind of made a lot of the transition too.
Awesome.
That as I noticed that I was kind of, gravitating towards certain snacks that we would keep in the house, slowly, as we started to kind of peel those away, and just change the way that we ate around the house, the family kind of followed suit. And so it impacted them that way, that now they're eating healthier because I'm trying to eat healthier. and
Yeah.
and it wasn't something that was forced and thrust upon them per se, because I still get them, some of those snacks. I mean, heck, they had pizza rolls just a minute ago.
Yeah.
I didn't crave them, I didn't have any, but they wanted them,
Yeah.
so I got them they have that.
Yes.
But in general, like, snacking around the house, now it's, instead of chips and candy, it consists of a lot more of lighter snacks, fresh fruits, vegetables, and things like that. Cucumbers, we go through so many cucumbers in this house
Oh,
now.
awesome. Awesome, man. And so for those that's tuning in, I have that because that's something that I get quite a bit and have gotten a lot on, the challenges with, maybe potentially cooking multiple meals and different things like that. But I want to share this with all of my couples, right? And especially if you're living together, right? Is that if one of you is taking the lead or have started to work on your fitness, nutrition, weight loss, wellness journey, just continue to lead from the front. Don't try to pull your spouse with you, especially if y'all have a history of trying to get someone to motivate someone to do it. You just have to continue to lead from the front. And so what's going to happen, your significant other, your spouse, I mean, it could be roommates, whatever. What's going to happen is that they're going to start to notice the change in you. And then they're going to start to become curious. And that would be the opportune time to start to enroll them into what you're doing. And at that point, you're not trying to push them or coach them. You're just going to invite them into eating some of the meals that you're eating, into maybe going for a walk with you, meeting the person where he or she is, but just invite them on those things. And then they're going to start to take note. But don't try to be the authority figure and say, you should be doing this and doing those things. I am a fitness professional, and I tried this the hard way with my wife. It wasn't until I just fell back, continued to do my thing. She found her way. We found the right program for her, and then it took off. And so we had so many battles and so many fights, to the point one day we was headed to Lincoln Park when I was doing the boot camp, and she literally cried when I tried to wake her up to
Oh,
do a 5:30 workout. All right, gang. So just continue to lead from the front, and do your thing. And then there will be a moment, as long as you are being consistent, and you're demonstrating and showing them that you're serious this time, especially if you have a history, okay, of starting and stopping. And so people are the way they are with us because we train them to be that way. Okay. So if you have trained someone to always not take your fitness and things seriously, then it's not that person's fault. And they're probably not supporting you because you have shown them what, that you wasn't so serious. So if this is you now, fast forward, and you have a coach and you have the accountability, you have the blueprint, and you're serious, just keep showing them that you're serious. Okay. And I promise you, they are going to want to have part of that change that they're noticing in you. Okay. And so, gang, just lead from the front there. Awesome. So, what are some of the you talked about the difficulties that you have had right beforehand, and so the idea is that we want to create new problems. So with that, the problem that we had before was being consistent, right? The problem we had before was stalling with the weight and not being able to lose the weight that you wanted to lose, right? And now we've overcome that, and we're still working, but there will be new problems that come up, right? And you're facing some of those. You're still dealing with some of those excuses and different things like that. But like, what are you most proud of so far, man?
With regards to those difficulties, probably the drive and will to push through.
Yeah.
That I've kind of defined what I want. I clearly defined what I want my goals to be. The way that I want to be. And now it's kind of, the drive is just keeping me going, this no failure mindset, for me. That no matter what, no matter how many times I fall, I might fall 7 times, but I'm going to stand up 8, and I'm going to keep pushing towards my goal.
Yeah, awesome. Andre, what's been your biggest takeaway from our coaching program so far?
Biggest takeaway from the coaching program so far is probably the biggest takeaway would be, that's a very good question. So the biggest takeaway is you are in charge. You are in charge. And by that I mean, us as the individual. We are in charge of how we perceive, what time we make with the program, how we accomplish the workouts, whether we accomplish the workouts. So we have a saying, in leadership schools that we go to, when in charge, take charge. And that's the biggest takeaway is you are in charge of your own destiny. You are in charge of your own fitness goals. So since you're in charge, take charge.
Yeah. I love it. And I love this whole ownership and taking accountability, right? I think you spoke earlier about being held accountable by, the program, myself, your coach. But it's one thing to take ownership as well. And the beautiful thing is that when we take ownership and we take accountability, guess what? We can change it. We can control it. If it's something else or someone else's fault where we pointing the finger, we truly don't have control of that. Right. So if something is not going right, take charge. Take ownership, because you have the power to create the change, right? And this is what Andre has been able to do, down 20 pounds, wearing pants that he hasn't wore in 5 years, right? Impacting your family and creating like a huge impact there, right? And that's the beauty of it. And Andre, before we go, I want to ask you, what would you tell anyone that may be interested in joining JCF, and may be on the fence, no matter if they're in Texas, they're in Louisiana, they're in California, wherever they are? What would you tell anyone?
Do it. Jump in with both feet. Pretend like you're in Hawaii and you're looking at that beautiful water, and all you want to do is just throw yourself into it. And that would be the biggest thing. If you are even on the fence about making the change, about living a healthier life, about joining JCF, do it. Awesome. Do it. Pull the trigger. It is the best decision you will ever make for yourself.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I totally received that. And you know a little bit about being in Hawaii. You lived there for several years, right?
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you miss it.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh,
awesome job.
so much.
So listen, Andre, I want to thank you truly, man, for just I think people feel and share like how giving you are, and it's no coincidence that you're a nurse because nurses I feel like are some of the most giving people in the world. So, and thank you for being a part of the program and being so open and just being such a great member, man, and being so coachable. So, as a coach, I don't think I can ask for much more than that. And so, thank you so much for tuning in tonight and giving us your time as well.
Oh,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Thank you for the
Awesome, man.
opportunity.
Absolutely. All right. So thank you. Huge round of applause to Andre. Andre, make sure you stay behind. Okay. Don't go anywhere, my man. Awesome. So, guys, thank you all for joining our Just Can't Fail stream. We have a very special giveaway. Okay. Been working on this for some time. And so, one of the most questions that I get is what can I have for breakfast? What are good proteins? Because that's the thing we kind of really work with our members on. Most of our members have zero issues on consuming carbs, consuming fats. It tends to be most deficient when it comes to the protein. So, gang, we have a very beautiful, aesthetically pleasing, beautiful recipe guide on breakfast proteins. So, if you would like to have that, okay, just please DM us. All right. Or you can DM us your email and we'll send that over to you right away. But you're going to have recipe books on protein breakfasts that are very tasty. All right. And are simple as well, because I know we're busy. All right, gang. So if you want that, please just reach out to us so we can send that over to you. Okay. We will send that over to you as soon as possible. So just DM us your email. We don't want to put it here, and we won't spam you, I promise. Okay, gang? So I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I really appreciate your time and attention that you gave us tonight. And if you have, I will stay on another 2 minutes, let's say minute and 30 seconds. If you have any questions, if there are no questions that come in, as long as questions come in, I'll answer them. But please, whatever you may be struggling with or have any concerns or questions, or you're getting a lot of mixed information on things. I know that happens a lot when you search things on the old Googles. All right. So if you have any questions, type them in. I will answer them. If nothing comes in, I will be heading off in 60 seconds. All right. Thank you guys so much. And don't forget, next week, make sure you tune in. All right. Next Thursday at the same time and place, 8:30 p.m. All right. And make sure you bring your questions, you bring any concerns you may have. All right, gang? So we're here every single Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Our Just Can't Fail stream. All right. We have 30 more seconds. If you have a question, please do type it in. All right, gang? And do let us know. You could just DM. So message me and we'll make sure we get that over to you. Okay. Shout out to Ebony. Thank you for tuning in. Jersey City in the building. Auntie Millette, thank you. Mama, thank you for tuning in. All right, gang? So make sure you all share this. All right, anyone in your circle that may be struggling with this, not having the accountability or starting and stopping. Anyone that's, this game is not a fitness journey, gang. It is a mental and personal development journey, right? We have to rise as an individual to not just get there, but stay there, because that's what's most important, okay? All right, gang. So I have no questions. I want to thank you all again for tuning in. You all have a beautiful evening. I'll see you all next week, 8:30. Take care.